Hey all, it's me, Johnny. I am back. I am reacting to Geoff Castellucci's Wicked Game a couple of weeks late. I apologize for that. I am currently finishing up my voice play ranking video in which I, as you can infer, rank every voice play music video. And it's been a long project, and that is what I've spent most of my time planning for YouTube videos working on. But I figured I'd get back into the reaction game. I have a couple more lined up after this one, but I'll probably release this one first. So let's hit it.
The world was on fire and no one could save me but you. Strange what desire will make foolish people do.
Ooh, I think we're B something. Ooh, probably some kind of like B minor, weird minor. I have good memories of Geoff voice and piano. I think the best examples, there was a few examples. I really liked High and Dry. He did that one a couple years ago. Till Then by the Mill Brothers, he covered about a year ago for New Year's Eve, and that might just be my favorite cover he's ever done. Though Jack's Lament, which he did this past Halloween, is also a contender. And all three of them are mostly just his voice and the piano. And I don't know how we're going to build from here. I don't know if we're going to add more. But I think with just his voice and the piano, he has so much expression. And I think it's so impressive what he can do with, again, just his voice and the piano.
I will make foolish people do. And I never dreamed that I'd meet somebody like you.
We have a nice rich tone on those notes. So very warm, so comforting, like hot chocolate on a cold winter's day.
Like you.
You looks like a G or something. It's so impressive that he can hit notes that low just in full like chest voice. That's crazy.
And I never dreamed that I'd lose somebody like you. No, I don't wanna fall in love with you. With you.
I'm sorry, I paused right before that bass drop. That was interesting. He cut out everything except the super low bass part, with like all of the high frequencies removed in there. But anyway, my one of my favorite things about these Geoff Castellucci covers is the way they build, and I talk about it every time, but it's because he does it so well. How we start with just droning through those super low notes, just his voice and a little bit of motion on the piano, and when he starts going, I don't wanna fall in love. Well, once he gets up to that point, we bring in a little bit more motion in the piano, and it starts to build a little bit. And I think we are going somewhere a little bit more just because of that bass drop. It kind of tricks the brain into thinking that you are going to keep building normally, only to completely pull a switch and just for a second have us guessing. So I think it's really cool to include that there. Let's go back and listen again.
What a wicked game you play to make me feel this way. What a wicked thing to do to let me dream of you. What a wicked
Ooh, that was cool. That was another bass drop moment with a doo 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 line on the piano. They did very briefly before there. So, if let me,
thing.
yeah. So the first repetition of this part here, he kind of sung it in the lower octaves still, just to give room to build. Because once we get into those higher notes, it kind of increases the intensity a little bit and makes it feel like we're going somewhere So I appreciate that he started on the lower octave. I think it leaves a lot of room to build.
What a wicked thing to say. You never felt this way. What a wicked thing to do, to make me dream of you. No, I don't.
High. Up to that, I guess F sharp. F sharp 3. Okay, it's not that high. But, still, we've had an impressive range so far between the super low notes and getting into like a more like baritone range.
No, I don't wanna fall in love.
And what you ought to pay attention to in there is the fact that the piano and percussion parts didn't really change when he switched octaves. The only thing that changed was the octave. So in just doing that alone, you create more intensity just by singing in a higher octave than you were before.
No, I don't wanna fall in love. No, I don't wanna fall in love with you.
Interesting. I was just paying attention to the aesthetic here. Looks like we're in some like unfinished room or something. I see chipped paint over on this the trim down here, and it's all white. It's pure white. So it looks like he didn't do this in a studio. He actually went somewhere and recorded this. But I was going to comment on the sudden drop in octave, and what he's doing, like keeping it all low so far, is making it feel very contemplative. With you. Oh, nice B. All right. Anyway, but this one is very much giving me vibes of Ain't No Sunshine, which he did a couple years ago, and I mean that one was a little bit more animated in the aesthetic, but either way, that's just the vibe I'm getting just from the laid back, lo-fi percussion feel.
With you.
B, A. Yeah, I don't have an A. F sharp. Yeah, it's just very pretty the way he executes that, and the fact that he is allowing such silence between vocal entrances and just letting the piano do all the work. It makes it. It again plays into the contemplative feel of the piece. Yeah, so I said that's an F sharp before. That's an E, and that's an interesting note because the fourth note of the scale. So it's called in music the subdominant, and I really like using it to build suspense. I think it sounds very pretty.
The world was on fire and no one could save me but you. Strange what desire will make foolish people do.
Trying to figure out what that low note is that he hits there.
But you.
Ooh. Yeah, my tuning app's telling me it's a G, but could also be me not singing in tune.
Strange what desire will make foolish people do. I never dreamed that I'd love somebody like you. I never dreamed that I'd lose somebody like you. No, I don't.
Wow. All right. So this is interesting. This is starting to deviate from what we're used to with Geoff. Let me see if I can find where the screen went dark. Okay, no, I cannot.
Strange what desire
Yes, I can. It's right
make
after this.
foolish people do. I never dreamed that
Yeah, so you kind of expected to kick the percussion back in, but it doesn't. Instead, we remove basically everything except for maybe like four or five stacked voices doing these harmonies, and there's a lot of clashing here. Very interesting.
I love somebody like you.
And then, do you hear that? That bass that happens in the background. It's very subtle and kind of weird to include here, but I think it's improving the listening experience. I think it's a cool thing to add.
I never dreamed that I'd lose somebody like you.
Yeah, that's such a nice dissonance to hang on there.
No, I don't wanna fall in love. No, I don't wanna fall in love. No, I don't wanna fall in love.
It's so interesting. Through that entire middle section, he walked you off a cliff on like a tightrope, and you were just like teetering across the tightrope, waiting to get to the other side, and you're like, and your eyes are closed, and you're like, "Am I there yet?" And you just keep not being there, and it's a weird metaphor, but that's just what I think of when I listen to that, because he just suspends us with the lack of percussion and the lack of forward momentum for so long, and it's just so interesting. So I'm really digging this. But then he goes up to that F sharp 4, that kind of more into like the tenor range.
I don't wanna fall in love.
And he blends so well from that and like the pure falsetto to the love, which is in more of like a chest voice. So he's mixing very well between the two registers.
No, I don't wanna fall in love.
And I think I wasn't paying attention super closely to this, but I think this is the first time we've heard harmony on that line. So again, forward momentum.
I don't wanna fall in love. No, no, I don't wanna fall in love.
So I'm going to do the Ain't No Sunshine comparison again. These are both relatively simple, repetitive songs, but he adds little flares to make them his own and to make them interesting to listen to despite being repetitive. Like that third time he repeated the "You Don't Want to Fall in Love" line, he, instead of singing it straight, held out the and went up to like a B4, that note up there. And I don't know, it's just like adding that, on the third repetition makes it feel more interesting. And I really appreciate that about this arrangement.
With you.
Again, like hanging up on the upper octave and then switching suddenly back down to with you.
I don't wanna fall in love. With you. With you. Nobody loves no one.
Wow.
Hey y'all, Geoff here. Just wanted to say thank you so much for watching and subscribing. Y'all are the absolute best. Speaking of
Okay, so hey, look at that. Does that mean Misty Mountains is now his most popular song on YouTube? I don't know, but I think this arrangement, more so than any he's done, masters the art of suspense in both the narrative sense and the musical sense. because even just that last line he does there, which is like it sounds like it'd be line one of a verse, like a new verse, and then it just stops, and I think that's such a cool idea, and I think all throughout the song he had moments of just like building your expectation for it to go somewhere and then not going there, and it just keeps you guessing, and it's very interesting. One of the more interesting arrangements he's done. But anyway, that's all. I will see you guys soon. I'm excited for what's to come this year. I have some big stuff planned, but for now, this is it, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.